Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, so today we have Elizabeth, and man, I can't wait for her to share her story. It is just awesome, and she's doing a lot to help other people. So let's get right into it. Elizabeth, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, first I'd like to start out by thanking you, Nick, for having me on your podcast. It's an honor to be here.
Of course.
So, I'll start from the beginning. 24 years ago, 1 week into my freshman year of high school, my life was easy. Everything was going full speed ahead for me to move to Nashville to pursue a career in country music as soon as I graduated high school. I was known for my singing voice. I had been singing and performing for over half my life.
Wow.
But then, 1 week into my freshman year of high school, my entire world was turned upside down. I was severely injured in a car accident that left me fighting for my life. I had suffered a traumatic brain injury that affected me like a stroke. I was placed in a drug-induced coma where I remained for 3 weeks, and once I woke, I had to relearn how to do everything again. It would be 3 full months of intensive hospitals and rehabs before I made it back home for good. Then, once home, this was when I discovered the biggest challenges that I would ever face, because the girl I once was, well, she was no longer living in me. She essentially died in the car accident, so I was on a journey of rediscovery, discovering who I was as a person, discovering just everything. I wanted to give up so many times. I was judged, I was rejected from people that would see something physically wrong with me, that would decide that I wasn't worth their time. My friends' lives had gone on, and I was essentially an invisible nobody. Nobody had any time for me, nor did they seem to care if I was around. I wanted to give up so many more times than I could even count. I would come home from school multiple days a week for years and tell my parents that I should have died. I wish I was dead and I want to kill myself. But it was God's voice on my heart when I was down on my knees crying out to Him, asking Him why He did this to me. What did I do to deserve this? That voice was the only comfort and peace that I would ever receive, saying, I have a plan for you. You can't stop. You have to keep going. I knew in that moment that one day I was going to need to be for someone else exactly what I needed. So I couldn't give up. I had to figure out what that plan was. Fast forward 24 years, my life has been a complete roller coaster. I've discovered my purpose. I've again found myself in some bad places, being told that the dreams on my heart weren't ever going to become a reality, but I knew better because I knew they were placed on my heart for a reason. So, but today I get to share my story and the strategies that I developed going through the darkest days of my life so that I can help others to discover their purpose, find their calling, so that they can gain the confidence, clarity, and courage to reclaim their power and pursue their purpose. And I just feel so very blessed to get to touch the lives that I've been touching for over 12 years.
I love your story because, it really hits home for me. I was also, when I was young, I was always like, why did God do this to me? Why did He put me on this earth this way? And honestly, it wasn't until about 2 or 3 years ago that, I had that kind of awakening moment, like, I'm put here for a reason. Let's figure it out. And then through discovering myself and who I am, who I want to be, and I will say, growing up, I kind of formed to who everyone else wanted me to be. And now I can be myself, and that's when I realized I was put here with cerebral palsy because I have the power to help so many people through my challenges, through my daily struggles. I can be the voice that speaks out and helps others. So your story touches me because it sounds a lot like my own story. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah, throughout high school, I would see myself when I looked in the mirror through the eyes of the people that judged me. I saw an
Mhm,
ugly monster that no one could ever love.
mhm.
And that was so far from the truth.
Yep. And another thing about your story is you took the hardest time in your life and you turned it around and made it the best thing that could have happened. You know, it's turned you into who you are. It gave you the opportunity to go out and help so many people, and now you're just on a mission, just like I am, to get out there and help as many people as you can. And I know for me, that's the most fulfilling feeling in the world. Is that moment when you realize that you changed somebody's life.
Yes, that's the greatest reward, and that's what brings me my peace and my freedom.
Hmm.
I never dreamt 24 years ago when I was that teenager that felt so alone and that no one could love that I would ever get to where I am today. I've been
Yep.
working as an occupational therapist for 12 years, been coaching my patients who are discouraged, lacking hope, being that
Hmm.
same voice of hope for them that God was on my heart, and
Yep.
it's just such a blessing.
It is. It is. And you said that you've been doing that for 12 years now?
Yep, for over
That,
12 years, yes.
that's incredible. And what are some of the topics that you work with your patients on?
So when I'm working, well, and I didn't even realize that what I was doing when I was working with my patients. I mean, they were discouraged, they were lacking hope. I would
Mhm.
help them to be able to gain perspective, be able to shift their mindset, and use the challenges that they were facing to be the driving force for them to be able to continue and to
Yep.
keep going. I have learned over the years that it's the challenges that make the victory so much sweeter once you
Yep.
finally break through. So, without these challenges, without these struggles, like you said, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Hmm.
I've been asked many times on podcast interviews over the years if you could go back and change anything from your past, would you? And my answer is no. The car accident, the marriage where I wasn't seen as the person I am, none of that. I wouldn't change any of it for a reason, for any reason at all, because it's what has equipped me to be able to help those that God is placing in my path today with the
Hmm.
wisdom and the knowledge to be able to give them the tools so that they too can learn how to rise above and overcome their difficulties.
Yep. And I like that you talk about challenges because one thing that I say myself and I work with my clients on is every challenge is an opportunity.
Yep.
Every single one, every problem is an opportunity, and it's that mindset that you talked about. You gotta shift your mindset to a positive growth mindset where you can
Hmm.
look at, negative situations and be like, okay, how can I turn this around
Hmm.
and make it beneficial to either me or somebody else?
Yep.
Because sometimes it might not be a good thing for you, but it might be a way for you to help somebody else. So
Yep.
that's what's important is always just turning problem around. And hey, we all have hard times in life, and sometimes you will not see the positive side of that problem or that circumstance for a while. It could be even years down the road.
Hmm.
But trust me, eventually you're gonna look back and go, "Oh, okay, that's why that happened." I
Yep.
I live I live by the saying, "Everything happens for a reason." I
Hmm.
truly believe that, and you know. For me, back in 2019, I lost my dad to brain cancer. Now, in that moment, it's the hardest thing that I've ever gone through. And I was like, there's no positive thing that's going to come out of this. There's no reason. There's nothing. Like, I was so down, so depressed. And looking back now, if my dad went to pass, now, regardless of anything, I still would like to have him back. But if he went to pass, I would not be on the path that I'm on now, where I'm getting out there and I'm helping thousands of people. So it's hard, but there's always a positive thing that comes out of everything.
Yeah, so my car accident really helped to equip me 8 years later when we lost my dad unexpectedly.
Mm.
Um, I had already learned how to grieve the loss of who I was as a person and
Mm-hmm.
had learned to accept that and overcome. So when we lost him unexpectedly, my mom was really worried about me and how I was
Mm-hmm.
going to handle it. But she never expected me to kind of be the rock
Mm-hmm.
because of where I was and how I had grown through my challenges.
Yeah.
So the strategies that God opened my eyes and let me know that I had developed a little over a year ago, about a year and a half ago. These strategies help with grief, help with loss, as well as trauma, and so much more.
I agree with you on that because me living with cerebral palsy my whole life, it's made me a tough person because
Yeah.
I have to go through so much every day just to live. And when I lost my dad, I was the rock for my mom and my sister. So I was the one that had to hold it together. And honestly, I didn't grieve for like 2 years. Like it was just like I held it in. I would cry, but not really like let go and just allow my emotions to happen. I was more concerned about making sure my mom and my sister were okay. And yeah, it's hard, but I'm glad that I was able to be that rock for them.
Mhm.
It might have taken a toll on me, but I'm doing okay. I have a therapist. It's going good. But it's situations like that where you really understand why you were put on this earth the way that you were.
Mhm.
There's just so many positive things that can happen.
Yep, yep. You just have to choose to continue moving forward, putting one foot in front of the other, and trying to live open to the possibilities. And
Hmm.
when you are stuck in a negative, dark place, it's difficult to see anything other than that negative and
Oh
darkness.
yeah.
But
Oh,
when you can learn to shift, that's when you learn to live open to all of life's possibilities. That's how I was able to take my impossible and turn it into I'm possible. It was
hmm.
through God's grace and mercy that I'm still here. And I never, like I said, I never dreamed that that plan that his voice on my heart, I have a plan for you, you can't stop, you have to keep going. I
Hmm.
had no idea what those words were going to get me through and where I was going to end up. But again, I just feel so blessed.
Yeah. When you have faith in God, He will guide you and help you along. I just a little over a year ago, I started to go to church again. I used to go when I was a little kid, and then never did for I don't know 15 years. But then I've been going now almost every Sunday and reading the Bible, and
Mhm.
it's just incredible, like the little gifts that you get along the way,
Yep.
and what you realize, and how He can help you through things. You really look at the world a lot different when you start following God. and it's been an incredible journey. I got baptized last February, so that was awesome. And yeah, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I have found that God brings people into your lives and certain things happen that
Hmm.
reinforces what his plan is for you.
Yep.
Like, I was known as a miracle baby because my parents weren't supposed to be able to have children.
All right.
After the car accident, I was known as a miracle twice because I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have survived. I
Mm-hmm.
had less than a 25% survival rate, so it is a miracle that I
Wow.
made it through that. Uh, a little over a month ago, it was actually 2 weeks. It was because the conference was. Oh, wait. Okay. The conference was the beginning of November.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 weeks prior to that healing conference that I was speaking at, God basically told me that I'm supposed to speak to his miracle power because I shouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
My entire life is made up of so many miracles that he's continued to bless me with. And
Mm-hmm.
so that is why I launched my 90-day miracle power empowerment coaching program so that I can help my clients to be able to gain perspective, to gain the confidence, the clarity, and the courage so that they can reclaim their power and pursue their purpose. I just feel
That's
so
awesome.
very blessed. Once I got out of a toxic marriage in April of last year, God brought me clarity on the specific strategies that I had developed recovering from my car accident. That had I not developed these strategies, I wouldn't have survived my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I began writing them down, and now science has backed them the last 10 to 15 years on how they help with mental health, how they help with stress management, overwhelm, burnout. And I developed them 24 years ago by his grace and his mercy. So it just, our God
Wow.
is an amazing God. Faith
Mm-hmm.
and trust, learning to walk by faith and not by sight, that's what
Mm-hmm.
brings you freedom.
Yep, it does. I agree. That's amazing. And how can people reach out to you or find you on your website?
ElizabethInspires.com. Check out my website. All of my social media platforms are on the top of my website. So
Oh,
please follow, like, share my content because I want to be able to help as many people as I can.
that's amazing. And I know you talked about your 90-day challenge. Have you started that?
Yes, I
Okay.
am enrolling. I can enroll 5 clients, have 5 clients at a time for the 90-day
Okay.
coaching program. It is
Okay.
one-to-one coaching with me once a
Well,
week, every week
awesome.
for 90 days. And it also includes a group if you are a woman after divorce, loss, or trauma. This group is for you. If you're a man and you're struggling with PTSD or divorce or anything like that, I can work with you too. I just don't have a group set up for men yet, but that
Yeah.
may be coming if I get enough interested.
All right. And that 90-day coaching program, you're gonna continue that over and over and over?
Yep, yep, I'll
Awesome. Okay.
continue that. Yes, yes. And
Okay,
then
good.
my group is just for women who want support. I'm going to be going live in that group once a week and be able to help give you some tools and strategies to overcome. I do have free resources available on my website, so to help you to
Awesome.
be able to learn to live open to those possibilities and
Mhm.
see the doors opening before you and have the courage to walk through them.
That's amazing. You are just an incredible person, and I love the journey you're on. Just getting out there and helping people and coaching. Coaching. I love coaching. It works, and for me, I had never had a coach until almost 3 years ago now. Never really knew what coaching was. And, that's what started me on this journey. I was like, "Oh, hey, I can do that, and that's how I can help more people." So, yeah, I love
Exactly.
that you're doing that.
Having a coach, especially when it's someone that's 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of where
Mhm.
you are, someone who's been there, that
Yep.
is a complete game changer. I've created a shortcut to overcoming anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, a shortcut to be able to overcome and go from merely surviving to truly thriving in every aspect of my life.
Mhm.
I am so blessed that I'm even attracting exactly what I need, either through people or resources, whatever it is that I need, so that I can be able to continue to grow as a
Mhm.
person, grow my business, so that I can help so many more people.
Yeah. It's amazing how if you put things out in the universe, they would just come to you.
Yep.
That whole law of attraction is
Mm-hmm.
real.
Yes.
I love that book. It's so true, and
Yep.
I implement it in my life daily. It's like stay positive. Don't be afraid to tell people what you want. Or just
Is it
get your
okay?
word out there and
Exactly.
reach out for help. Like
Yeah.
that's something that we all struggle with. We don't want to reach out and get help and ask somebody for help, but trust me,
Yep.
99% of people are willing to help. People love
I,
to help people.
exactly. And that's what the game changer is. When you can
Mhm.
reach out to someone who is at 3, 4 steps ahead of you, they're them being there to support you. That is what makes it possible for you to overcome and reach that goal.
This episode of the Infinite Abilities podcast is brought to you by the one and only Infinite Toolbox, where just like all other toolboxes, we will get the job done, guaranteed. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to save time, boost revenue, or automate your processes, Infinite Toolbox has got you covered. With powerful tools designed to drive leads, expand your reach, and gain your industry secrets, we help you work smarter, not harder. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Visit us at infinitetoolbox.com. That's infinitetoolbox.com and discover how infinite your potential really is. Yep.
God spoke to me and showed me things 6, 7 years ago to let me know that those dreams, those goals that are placed on your heart, He placed them there for a reason. And He has
Mhm.
equipped you with everything you need within you to make them become a reality. It's not going to be easy, but
No.
nothing worth doing ever comes easy.
Yeah.
But once you get there, that reward is so much bigger than any of the challenges, any of the struggles, the difficulties that you faced to get you there.
That's so true. So true. That's amazing. Alright, so I do have a question that I ask every guest. My slogan is your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
You can do anything you put your mind to. You have basically just what I said. You're
Yep.
equipped with everything you need to be able to get to where you want to be. Now, as you continue to grow as a person, those dreams, those goals, they may shift a little bit,
Mhm.
but honestly, they're going to stay pretty much the same. If
Mhm.
plan A doesn't work, there's 26 letters in the alphabet. Plan B, plan C. Keep changing the plan, but keep going towards that same goal or that dream. You're the only one that's equipped to make it happen. Your
Yeah.
dreams, your goals aren't going to look identical to anybody else's.
No.
So they were
Yeah.
definitely given to you for a reason, and you're the only one that can make it happen.
That's amazing. I love that. If plan A doesn't work, just keep on going.
Yeah,
Your path may change, and that's okay. But
yeah,
just keep on pushing through.
yeah.
I love that. And do you have any last words of wisdom?
Just find the right tools, find the resources. So One thing that I have learned is by refusing to give up and
Mm-hmm.
continuing to seek, that's what's made my impossible possible.
Yeah.
I had to get up off that broken down couch. I couldn't sit and waller in self pity. I had to get up, walk over to the window, walk over to the door, and open it in order to see the mountains being moved.
Amazing. I love that. And I just gotta say to everyone, we're all afraid of failure, but let me tell you this: you cannot fail if you don't give up.
Right. Learning how to fail forward. I say
Yes,
that so many times. It's like
love that.
I have failed so many times. I've made so
Mm-hmm.
many mistakes, but I pick myself back up and I learn how to fail forward and keep going despite the mistakes, despite the failures.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's gotten me to where I am today.
Yeah, every time that you think you failed, take that opportunity to learn from it
Hmm.
and do better next time.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
That's all a part of the growing process.
Yep. All right, Elizabeth, this was absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much, Nick.
Of course, if you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.